In this video, we're going to discuss how to create a survey using Survey123 and the web browser methodology. You need to navigate to survey123.arcgis.com, which is what you're seeing over on my left-hand side of my screen, that I have navigated to this location, and you need to click Create a New Survey. And so you can see that when we get here, there's two methodologies. One methodology is the Web Designer methodology, and the other is the Connect methodology, which utilizes an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to click on the web-based methodology, so we're going to click Get Started here. And notice the things that we need to supply is we need to supply a name to our survey, some tags where people can use to find our survey, and a brief summary. So I'm going to supply these items for my survey. So I'm going to click over here and I'm going to say this is GeoEd 20 test 10. I'm just going to put one here, GeoEd 20 as a tag, and this is a test of Survey 123. And then I click Create. As you can see, it is actually creating the survey. Take a few moments for that to happen. And when that happens, we're now in the design phase. Notice design is showing here. The Add tab is the tab that we're in. We have here a group of different items that we can add. We'll look at a couple of these immediately. And usually the first thing that we add is text, a single line of text, which is going to be the name of the survey. So we're going to call this test GeoEd as the name of the survey. We can give a hint, name the object. We're not going to use any predefined answers. Is this a required question? Yes, it is. Is there a minimum maximum value? Is other there? And that's good. And we're just going to say save. And so now we've entered the first item into our survey. We're going to go back to the Add tab. And from the Add tab, you can see some of the other choices that we have. So we've added the text window. Let's add a multiple choice question with a drop down. So we're going to just drag this over and drop it. We need to give it a title. We're just going to say question 2. All right, let's put the whole word question in there. Question 2. We're not going to give it a hint. Choice 1 is yes. Choice 2 is no. Choice 3, unsure. So whatever question 2 was that we asked the people, we have our different choices. We're going to say save. And you can see that question is now there. If we want to preview what the survey is going to look like, we can hit the preview button. It'll take it a moment to generate a preview for us. So there's our preview. Notice here's our drop down where we have a yes, no answer. We can look at it. What would it look like on a phone? And so we get a different view there. All right, you can see some of the other types of things that we can add. We can add time, we can add date and time, we can add just date. We can do a Likert scale here, so I'm just going to drag that one over. Strongly disagree to strongly agree, but I can change whatever I want these to be. Poor condition, let's say that's what I want that to be. Notice that one has been changed. This is another type of a domain. We can have 3, 5, 7, or customize the number of responses. Again, on every one of these, we can say this is a required question, and we hit save. go back to the add screen and look at some of the others things we can put in here. The map is going to be a map that we put our position on. Notice it starts at 0, 0. We can move the map around to what we want the home position to be. If we're out in the field, it can be a GPS position. We can do geocoding here, or we can just drag the map around. Now I'm moving the map actually in the survey, but once we get actually into doing the collection, you can actually drag the map to the right point and click, and it will actually put that as your position. So here's that survey that we looked at previously, and we can look at it from a design standpoint. I can click on any of the questions, and it takes me to edit mode. So this is the city question, which is a required question. That's what the little red star means. And here's the 3 items I've entered in so far as the 3 domains for cities. I can add another city here as we speak. So let's see, I'm going to add Louisville as another city here, and that will be added to my domain. I can allow other to be used or not. I can make this a required or not a required question. I've made it a required question, and then you just save. So let's look at a couple of these just to see how they look in the editing side of this. So here's a group of check boxes, and so here you can see each checkbox that I gave it, and I've given it permission to have multiple checkboxes checked and not just a single checkbox. Here's my comment window. I'm going to click on that. So here's my comment box that you can see. Here's my Likert scale box. I've given it the values of very poor to new or like new. Here's my map, and you can see the default position that we've put the map into is the Falls City area of southern Indiana and northern Kentucky around Louisville. Date and time. Images. We can again click on them, and we can rename it, give them some hints. This is a required question I've put in for the first one. Notice image 2 and 3 are not required, and the submit button is an automatic here. It does limit our image size, and we cannot change this to a maximum of 10 megabytes. So you can see how some of these different features can be controlled here on the survey that we've already built. Once we get this survey all done, we need to save it, and then we need to publish it. So I'm going to click Publish here. Make sure I'm okay with it being published. And if you do not publish it, then you cannot do the collaboration button. So we have to have it published before we can do collaboration. It was published. I'm going to click over here, Collaborate. And you can see in this survey, here's the link to it, a much shorter URL. We're allowing everyone, so it's a public survey, to submit to this survey. We're going to share this survey either through a web browser or through the app. That's what that question's asking me. And what can somebody do? They can add and update records, but we're not giving them the permission to delete records. And you can see those type of responses. We can save that. We haven't really changed anything. We can also look at analysis of what has already been submitted. Items being collected. City. We've only done Jeffersonville at this point. The state's only been in Indiana. Type of items, you can see here how they've been classified. Rate the condition of items. Most items have been in very good condition. We just had one item that was in poor condition. We can look at time of date, who collected it, and we can actually look at all the images that's been submitted. We've only submitted a second image on one item. That's why image 2 has only one item there. We can also look at the data that's been collected. So there's the data that's been collected both from a mapping standpoint and also from an attribute table. We can also add webhooks. And the general way that I add webhooks is using the application, the middleware that we're going to use with the webhook, and not doing it through Survey123. There is a document that we've posted for you on webhooks. In time permitting, we will show this in the actual live lesson. To get to webhooks from within Survey123, you would go to Settings. Over here, click on Settings, and it would build the webhook in here. But actually, I find it easier to use the middleware to build the webhook. And so, for example, a webhook might be every time somebody submits a survey, send me an email. That way I don't have to go check and see when surveys have been submitted. I will get an email every time somebody uses the tool. Now that might be not a good idea because you might be getting 30 or 40 emails a day. That wouldn't be a good idea. But if you're only getting a couple, it does find it useful. You might actually tell the webhook, put it in an Excel spreadsheet for me automatically. So we put actually the whole attribute row into an Excel spreadsheet automatically. So there's lots of middleware that will do this. As I said, the lesson we've already developed there will help you through that. And there also can be developed from within Survey123, but you still need to have a middleware. So let's review for just a moment some of what we did. We start with the design phase. So here on the design phase, we go through what's going to be collected and why is it going to be collected. So once we have that, we then go to a build, test, share phase. We build the survey, we then maybe share it with a couple people to test it out to see if it's working right. And then once we have it done, we send it to people's Survey123 app on their smart device. So we download the survey. Then we have people using the survey, collecting data, and every time they collect a data point, it sends it back up into the cloud and is stored within the apps that we built. Well, we would like to have a way of looking at it so we can build web maps. And that's what you've looked at is some of the embedded web maps that I've used and created. We can build a web app, which gives us more analysis capacity within a single program. Or we can share it to other sources such as Hub, which we showed how we put it into Hub in a previous video. We can put it directly into the web, but we would not have as much functionality as we might have with Hub. We can use it to build story maps. We can use it in Insights, which is another analysis program by Esri, or we can put it into Operational Dashboard. So we have different ways we can share this out, and this may not be an exhaustive list. There might be some other things that we can use to share this out with. But again, we design, we create and test, we download it and use it, collecting data which is sent back to the cloud, and then we display the information. So hopefully you'll be able to build your own Survey123 using the web browser methodology.